Hi friends, in the first section we're diving into importing all the assets you'll need for the game. And we'll also go over all the settings that come with each asset so you know exactly how everything works. Without wasting in time, we're gonna fire up Unity and create a brand new project with just a click. Super quick and easy. We click on the New Project button. In the next window, we assign name to the project. I'm naming mine tank underscore multiplayer underscore game underscore pun 2. But you can choose any name you prefer for your project. Then click Create Project to press it. In this section, we'll import the assets required for the game, which are considered the intro files, into the project we've created. We'll also apply the initial settings to these assets. For this course, we're using the latest version of Unity, Unity 6. It's recommended that you have the same version installed on your system, so we can follow along without any issues. We'll minimize the windows that have opened. To import the assets needed for the game, we'll go to the Unity Asset Store and the official Photon Framework website. You can easily type Photon PUN 2 in the search box of your browser and open these two resources in separate tabs. I previously saved a set of assets for this game in my favorites and will go through all of them together. You can also easily add these assets to your own panel and import them into Unity by searching for the title of each asset. We'll open these 5 items in separate tabs in the browser. The first item is the PUN 2 free package. To put it simply, this package acts as a bridge between Unity and the project we've created on the Photon website. It provides all the necessary tools for building a networked game. You can easily search for this package in the Unity Asset Store search box. Then click Add to My Assets, which in my case shows as open in Unity. The next item is Gem and Crystal. We'll use this package for collectible objects in the game. Simply search for this asset, then click Add to My Assets, which in my case shows as open in Unity, to add it to your project. For the VFX used in this game, we're using an asset called WarFX, which is both optimized and visually appealing. We'd like to give a special thanks to Jean Moreno for this asset. The next package is Cartoon Tank Free, which we use for the player characters and one of the enemy objects in the game. It's designed to be highly optimized and standard compliant. This asset was created by Comeback. The next item is another enemy object called Free Machine Turret. This asset was designed by Mythmatic. Finally, we have the Photon Unity Networking SDK, or PUN for short. We're using version 2 of this SDK to build this game. We'll close all of these tabs except for the Photon Unity Networking tab. Then in another browser window, type free sound in the search box and perform search. We'll use this website to get and download all the sounds needed for the game. Open a new tab and navigate to free sound. One of the recommended sites for downloading any kind of audio files is this website. It can be very useful for a wide range of educational content. For the first sound, type Tank Engine in the search box and press enter. Click on engine for _loop.wave and download it. We'll be using this file for the Tanks Engine sound. I'm saving and downloading this file into a separate folder on my desktop. Type explosion tank in the search box and perform search. I'm selecting the tank fire mix file, but you can choose any other file that you think is more suitable. We'll also save this file in the same folder we used before. Type heavy weapon single shot, then download and save the corresponding file in the same folder as before. We'll likely use this sound for the bullet firing. For the next item, type explosive and download the corresponding file. I think this file should be a suitable choice. We'll temporarily close this file, and if needed, we can come back to it later. We're done with this tab. So let's move on to Photon Unity networking. Here we log into the account we created earlier. Go to the dashboard and create a new project. Click on this button. First, select Photon SDK, choose PUN, and for application name, pick any name you like. I'm going with Tank Game PUN 2. Click Create and then minimize this window as well. Return to Unity and from the window menu, select Package Manager. Click on My Assets and then import the assets that were added into Unity one by one. We forgot to give a special thanks to Aztec Games for the package they created, and likewise freesounds.org for providing the sounds that supported us throughout this tutorial series. We'll also import the WarFX asset. We'll also import the Cartoon Tank game package. For this asset, it's a good idea to uncheck some of the options, since we won't be needing them here. Most of these items come pre-installed in Unity 6. So there is no need to install them again, and we can skip them. Here we'll uncheck some of the unnecessary items and focus only on the 3D model, textures, and materials that we'll be using. Then we proceed with the import. The last asset we need to import into Unity is Photon Unity Networking PUN 2.3. We'll download and import this asset as well. Click on Yes for this and other files, which is highlighted by default. In the PUN setup window, we need to enter the app ID that we obtained when creating the project on the Photon Engine website into the field labeled app ID or email. If this window didn't open automatically for you, you can go to the Photon Unity Networking submenu under the Window menu. Select PUN Wizard and then click Setup Project. Go back to the Photon Engine page and copy the app ID created for the Tangame PUN 2 project. Minimize this page and return to Unity. Paste the copied app ID into the app ID or email field and then click Setup Project. We're done with this window, so click Close. If you've noticed, once Photon is set up, A file called Photon Server Settings is also created. This file contains all the settings related to connecting to the Photon servers. In the Search by Type section, select the Material option. So all the materials that were added as a result of importing the packages get filtered and listed inside the asset folder. If you've noticed, all of these materials appear pink. This means that the shaders used to create these materials are not defined in the new version of Unity, which uses URP by default. We need to fix this issue first. To fix this issue, first select all of these materials by pressing Ctrl and A. Then go to the Edit menu, navigate to Rendering, Material, and choose Convert selected built-in materials to URP. This will easily convert all of them to URP. Now, if you notice, most of these materials have returned to their normal appearance and are no longer pink. A few are still not correct, and we'll fix those later by assigning separate shaders that closely match their original look. I believe there are only about 6 of them left. We'll minimize this and move on to importing the remaining assets. I think we forgot to download one of the sound files for collecting the collectibles. So let's go back to freesound.org and download this file as well. In the search box, type collect crystal and perform a search. Download the file you select and save it in the appropriate folder. Open the folder containing all the game sounds once more. Select all the audio files and import them into Unity. Right-click on the asset, create a new folder named Sounds for all these audio files and move them into this folder. We'll minimize this and move on to importing the last package provided for you. I've included the link to this package in the description so you can easily download it and import it into your project. Drag and drop this package to import it into Unity. As you can see, this package includes two trains for the two levels, along with all the related files. It also contains all the sprites needed for designing the UI. This one is for the second level. And this one is for the first level of the game. And these are all the sprites that will be used in the game. Next, we'll work on the VFX that will be used in the game and set up some related settings. We'll go to the JMO Assets folder from the WarFX package and bring some effects that we previously tested and selected into the hierarchy panel to work on them. Inside the explosions folder of the asset, select these items and add them. In the smoke folder, select this item and add it to the hierarchy. Keep in mind that I'm using the version of these effects optimized for mobile, since we plan to design and implement this game for both PC and mobile platforms. For the duration of this effect, select the base node. Since we don't want it to run for too long, for glow change the duration from 5 to 1.25. For smoke be quick, set the duration to 0.125. For dot sparkles molt, set the duration to 1.25. For dot sparkles big, set the duration to 1.25. And for explosions, set the duration to 1.25 as well. For glow sparkles, set the duration to 1. And for smoke, set the duration to 0.5. For this effect, set the duration to 0.25. And in start lifetime, replace the values with 0.15 and 0.2. In emission, set the rate over time to 12.5. For smoke, set the duration to 0.2 instead of 0.5, as it seems more appropriate. For start delay, replace 0.5 with 0.2. And for start lifetime, set the value to 0.3. In emission, set the rate over time to 5. It will work better if we set the start lifetime for the smoke object to 1 and 1.5 here. Select all of these items, right-click and choose Unpack completely from the prefab options. Click the plus button to create a new folder called Prefabs and place all the effects from the hierarchy panel into this folder, just as you can see here. We no longer need these items, so delete them all from the scene. The next item we work on is the collectible that the player can collect. Go to Aztec Games and in the prefabs folder, select the first item crystal and place it into the scene. Reset the transform values. We want to create a new material for this object, and to do that, we'll use its original material as a base. First click on the grass material and select locate. Then create a copy by pressing Ctrl and D to duplicate it and place it in the asset folders so it's easy to access. Select the crystal object and remove it from prefab mode by choosing Unpack completely. Next, replace the previous crystal material with glass one and we'll make some adjustment to it. For the base map, select the green color. Set the alpha value to 100. Actually, 89 might be more appropriate. For the hexadecimal value, enter number 2CB 706. For the metallic map, set the value to 1, and for smoothness set it to 0.76. For the blending mode, you can select alpha. Create a new folder in Assets called Materials and place Glass 1 inside it. Replace the name crystal with emerald. Create a prefab from it and place it in the prefabs folder in Assets. We no longer need the original object in the scene. Alright everyone, great job! The import and initial setup of the project is now complete. We'll continue in the next section. See you there.